Jones Point, written by John Adam Wasowicz, narrated by Derek Mcginty. Prologue. A full moon illuminated a milky sky. 10 miles south of the nation's capital, cars and trucks glided across the Wilson Bridge, their headlights shining like diamonds. A dirty gray Dodge Magnum swung around a corner in Old Town Alexandria and stopped beneath the bridge at the end of a long, wide parking lot at the tip of Jones Point. Overhead, the illuminated massive white arches of the bridge rose like the hands of a god cradling ribbons of asphalt across the Potomac River between Virginia and Maryland. The car's driver doused the lights and popped the hatch. Then he and another man exited the vehicle and walked around to the back. The two men, both burly and with close-cropped black hair, yanked a body from the cargo area and tossed it carelessly on the blacktop. That body, caked in dry blood, landed against a bollard planted at the far perimeter of the parking area. The driver paused for a moment to finish the cigarette dangling from the corner of his mouth, then tossed the butt to the pavement. In silence, the two men grabbed the body, one taking the hands, the other the legs, and carried it 20 yards across dead grass to the pier that jutted out into the water. They walked a few more yards onto the pier and then heaved the limp form into the river. As the body hit the water, waves slapped against the pilings. The gears of an 18-wheeler groaned overhead, and the men looked up at the bridge. Lights at the base of its V-shaped supports transformed the bridge into a monument as distinctive as the Lincoln Memorial or the Washington Monument. "We go, Alec," the driver growled. The men ambled to the car, the driver's and passenger doors opened simultaneously and slammed in unison with the grace of a choreographed scene. The car's lights turned on, its beams stabbing the night. The vehicle retreated from Jones Point, turned right onto a quiet residential street, and disappeared, leaving behind only the strong odor of gasoline. Chapter 1. 2 weeks earlier, a slight drizzle fell as U.S. Attorney Mo Katz slipped into the Lyceum. He grabbed an hors d'oeuvre from a silver tray and then washed it down with a 6-ounce bottle of sparkling water, and then he worked his way through the crowd until he found a lithe blonde standing by herself and observing the festivities. "Where did you come from?" Abby Snow asked without turning toward him as he slid in beside her like a warm breeze. She tilted her head in his direction. They exchanged a soft kiss. "Just got here," he whispered. Without asking, she knew another unscheduled meeting on the Bank of Magellan case had scuttled his plans for an early exit from the office, even on the Friday before the Labor Day weekend. Snow and Katz stood quietly inside a white-columned classical structure a block from the main intersection of King and Washington Streets in Old Town Alexandria that served as a cultural center for musical and artistic performances. Though he'd driven by it hundreds of times, Katz had never stepped inside the building until tonight. "Well, who would have thought Mo Katz would be so engrossed in a civil case?" Snow smiled knowingly. "It's the bomb," he replied, playing off the acronym BOM the prosecutor's office's team had used to describe the Bank of Magellan case. He grabbed another appetizer from a tray balanced in a waiter's hand. "People missed you at the courthouse," Snow said, referring to the award ceremony recognizing Alexandria Police Detective Sherry Stone for valor. Snow spoke in a chastising tone that suggested Katz had a responsibility to be punctual. Katz shrugged and adjusted his striped blue tie. Dressed in a blue seersucker suit and pink shirt, he looked cool, despite the steamy weather outside. His prematurely grizzled hair, with a texture like steel wool, was cut short and glistened under the artificial lights. His white teeth sparkled as he smiled at Snow. His first name, Elmo, was a composite of data points in the lives of his parents, Myron Katz, a Jew born in Brooklyn, and Denise Wells, an African-American from the Motor City. They met as students at the University of Chicago in the late 70s. L stood for the Chicago Transit Authority's train system, the L, their preferred and their only form of transportation in those days. Mo was for Motown Records, whose R&B tunes by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and Diana Ross and the Supremes provided the musical backdrop of their romance. After earning a law degree at Georgetown, Katz settled in Virginia, taking a job as a city assistant Commonwealth attorney. 3 years of handling prosecutions ranging from minor traffic offenses to capital murder gave way to the so-called dark side, a criminal defense
Sample complete. Ready to continue?